Chapter 5. A conversation on interface of civil society and sustainable development paradigm as panacea for global environmental challenges. It is important to begin the conversation in this chapter with the understanding of some of interrelated variables that impact on the environmental global challenges. Some of these include toxicology, cyberspace and virtual reality, internet governance, free trade and safe environment. 5.1 Some interrelated environmental variables. 5.1.1 Toxicology. Toxicology is applicable to many areas like the industrial, agricultural, veterinary, environmental, forensic and medical fields. The Society of Toxicology, SOT, of the United States of America defines toxicology as the study of the adverse effects of chemicals, physical or biological agents on living organisms and the ecosystem, including the prevention and amelioration of such adverse effects. www.toxicology.org. Toxicology can also mean scientific study of pollution of the environment through the negative use of chemicals. In chemical pathology, the term is employed to imply identification of the concentrations of poisons of biomarkers of their effects in body fluids, tissues and other materials. Hainter, 2016-14. Toxic effects develop from perturbation at the molecular level progressing to alter cellular function, eventually giving rise to disturbances of tissue or organ function with resulting influence on homeostasis that may range from mild discomfort to death. Unfortunately, it is only the later that many accept as toxic effects that may delay seeking assistance or remedy. Cyanide toxicity, for instance, occurs as follows. Cyanide causes tissue hypoxia by binding to Fe and cytochrome C reductase and inhibits electron transfer. Pesticides are chemicals used to kill pests and include organophosphate insecticides and herbicides. They inhibit cholinesterase, while paraquat causes poisoning by leading to oxidative stress. Ainter, 2015-2016, 16. Therefore, the issue of toxicology must be integral to the conversation on the Global Sustainable Development Programme. For instance, in respect of agriculture, especially in the industrialized countries, it is common to see many expansive mechanized agricultural farms doused with chemicals of herbicides and insecticides to control the weeds and insect pests that tend to run rampant when just one or two crops dominate large areas, and oil-based synthetic fertilizers that substitute for healthy soils teeming with beneficial organisms. In addition, genetically engineered food products are rampant. This contemporary and often encouraged farming system produces pesticides, fertilizers and manure that seep into the groundwater and run off into local streams and rivers. In its response to seek for food security, Nigeria encourages its citizens to embrace the Western type of agricultural practices. Accordingly, many commercial farms are established. Correspondingly, herbicides and insecticides are used to control the weeds and insect pests, and oil-based synthetic fertilizers are equally used, with the consequent pollution of the soil, water and air. Another area of toxicology-related activity in Nigeria is that of oil exploration, and oil spillage is a major culprit in environmental deterioration, especially in the delta. Their environment is polluted due to the massive quantity of natural gas that is being flared into the atmosphere. About 10 years ago, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) placed the quantity of petroleum jettisoned into the environment yearly at 2,300 cubic meters, with an average of 300 individual spills annually. However, because this amount does not take into account minor spills, the World Bank argues that the true quantity of petroleum spilled into the environment could be as much as 10 times the officially claimed amount. Even though the gas flaring pollution has considerably reduced, the situation can become better. Oil spillage has a major impact on the ecosystem into which it is released. Vegetation in the delta consists of extensive mangrove forests, brackish swamp forest and rainforest. By The large expanse of mangrove forest is estimated to cover approximately 5,000 to 8,580 square kilometers of land and remains very important to the indigenous people of Nigeria as well as to the various organisms that inhabit these ecosystems. Mangroves also provide essential habitat for rare and endangered species like the manatee and pygmy hippopotamus. The constant pollution of petroleum has caused 5–10% of the mangrove forest to disappear. The volatile, quickly penetrating and viscous properties of petroleum have wiped out large areas of vegetation. When spills occur close to and within the drainage basin, the hydrologic force of both the river and tides force spilled petroleum to move up into areas of vegetation. Mangrove forests are included in a highly complex trophic system. If oil directly affects any organism within an ecosystem, it can indirectly affect a host of other organisms. These floral communities rely on nutrient cycling, clean water, sunlight and proper substrates. With ideal conditions they offer habitat structure and input of energy via photosynthesis to the organisms they interact with. The effects of petroleum spills on mangroves are known to acidify the soils, halt cellular respiration and starve roots of vital oxygen. The area that has been destroyed by petroleum may be susceptible to other problems. These areas may not be suitable for any native plant growth until bacteria and microorganisms can remediate the conditions. Spills in populated areas often spread out over a wide area, destroying crops and aquacultures through contamination of the groundwater and soils. The consumption of dissolved oxygen by bacteria feeding on the spilled hydrocarbons also contributes to the death of fish. In agricultural communities, often a year's supply of food can be destroyed instantaneously. Gas flaring releases large amount of methane, which is accompanied by another major greenhouse gas, carbon dioxide. Gas flares have potentially harmful effects on the health and livelihood of the communities in the vicinity, as they release a variety of poisonous chemicals including nitrogen dioxides, sulfur dioxide, volatile organic compounds like benzene, toluene, xylene and hydrogen sulfide as well as carcinogens like benzopyran and dioxin. Humans exposed to such substances can suffer from a variety of respiratory problems. These chemicals can aggravate asthma, causing breathing difficulties and pain, as well as chronic bronchitis. Domestic and industrial pollution is another area of toxic-related environmental degradation in Nigeria. The typical Nigerian solid waste includes paper, leaves, food remnants, metal scraps, tins, cans, rubber containers, plastics, cellophane bags, worn-out tires and tubes, while industrial waste is made up of residues of power stations burning coal, oil, gas and unwanted byproducts of industries in urban centers. The place of refuse dumps harbors flies, fleas, mosquitoes, rats and other vectors that could cause several diseases such as fever, malaria, filariasis and yellow fever. 5.1.2 Cyberspace and virtual reality, Internet governance. The exponential growth of the Internet in the 1990s is the latest development in the communications revolution that over the last 30 years has transformed international politics and business, made the ideas of an international community, global village, or global civil society feasible and created new concepts of space and reality, cyberspace and virtual reality. As the historian McNeill, 1990, 168, noted, this revolution is the central disturber of our age. The Internet has played a major role in globalization and the diffusion of ideas, cultures and technology. It has provided the electronic infrastructure for linking NGOs and advocacy groups in different parts of the world. That same infrastructure has created global financial markets and facilitated rapid transfers of funds in the drug trade, international crime syndicates, terrorist networks, and it has created new forms of commerce. The Internet has also raised a host of new governance issues and the need for new sets of rules and new types of authorities to enforce those rules. What makes it a standing case study in global governance is the predominance of private authorities and modes of governance and the limited roles of national governments and NGOs. By giving rise to new and unique patterns of international cooperation, one analyst argues, the Internet has transformed the global communications order. Drake 2001, page 26. The complete volume of the chapter of this book is available on Amazon. Kindly subscribe and enjoy the next chapter of this educational documentary series. Thanks for watching and recommendation. Professor Doku Noyeshola, OP.
Link up with Environmental Tonic on YouTube for more environmental hints.